The past few times that I've been celebrating, I've been talking about the letter to the Hebrews. So guess what the topic is today? Letter to the Hebrews. Because it's kind of a complicated letter and it's hard to understand. And there's messages just below the surface. For example, at the end of this reading today, it says, Jesus was obedient and he suffered. Therefore, he was made perfect. Now, with American ears, 21st century, made perfect, we would hear that he has no flaws in him. But in Hebrew, that's not what the word means. Made perfect is the word that they would use for the ordination of their priests. And so it was in the suffering that Jesus became a priest. Remember, he was the priest who offered up the offering and who was the offering. And that's what this author is playing with a little bit. There's only one problem. In Israel, what tribe of people become priests? Yell it out. Levi. Was Jesus a Levite? Absolutely not. He was from Judah, and they didn't intermarry between tribes. So what are we going to do with Jesus' priesthood? Well, actually, at the Dead Sea, about 1947, they found a whole bunch of scrolls from a community of monastic Jews who lived there, and they talk about two messiahs. One's the kingly Messiah, one's the priestly Messiah. So Jesus, he fits the bill as the priestly Messiah. Kingly Messiah. How can he also be a priest? Because he's a priest in the order of Melchizedek. Now, who's Melchizedek? This goes back to Genesis. Melchizedek was a king of the city of Salem, and he was also a priest. Abraham comes back from a battle. He has all this booty, and he offers 1/10. He tithes to Melchizedek, who then offers a sacrifice of bread and wine. Can you already see a few similarities? Especially when you realize the way to say the city of Salem in Hebrew is Jerusalem. Jerusalem. He was the king and priest of Jerusalem. Was Melchizedek of the tribe of Levi? He wasn't even Jewish. He was pagan. He was a priest of God the Most High. That's simply a title for a Canaanite god, El-Elyon. And so he wasn't even Jewish, came out of the blue. We don't know who his parents were. We don't know anything about him. But yet, he was a priest of God. Jesus wasn't of the tribe of Levi. He was like Melchizedek. And it even works better. But when you realize what his name means, Melech in Hebrew means king. Zedek, righteousness. A king of righteousness from Jerusalem who offers bread and wine. Can you see how that would fit together perfectly? And so that's what this letter is doing. It's trying to say that way back when, these things were foreshadowed. In our spiritual life, isn't that a good thing to do? To look back at things that happened a while ago, and when something new happens, you say, now I see, God was getting me ready for this moment. I didn't know why, but I can see God's fingerprints all over it. And unfortunately, most of the time we see God's action is in the past. In the present, we're too busy with what's going on. It's difficult to see God acting. But when we look back, we see God's actions all over the place. It's like Moses. Remember, he wanted to see the face of God? And God told Moses, bury your head in the sand. And when God passed by, Moses could look up and see God after he passed through. That's exactly like us. Now, the other way that we fit into this story is the priesthood. By our baptism, we share in the priesthood of Christ. We, too, are ordained in the order of Melchizedek. We are priests who offer up the offering of our lives. Now, sometimes it's the big stuff. When we're called to give witness to the faith. We had friars who died of martyrdom in Poland, in Romania during the persecutions. Sometimes it's the little everyday things. Washing the dishes, even though you told the other person in the house to wash them 5 times, and to wash them with a sense of gratitude. Thank you, God, for letting that person forget. So now I have the opportunity to serve. Right? It sounds good. To look at the everyday things we're doing already and to consecrate them. Mother Teresa, God calls very few of us to do great things, but God calls all of us to do small things with great love. And so to look at the opportunities, the everyday things, and realize that something very holy is going on, in which we are the priests offering up something that's been consecrated, our love, our service, even our sacrifices.